whenever there was a challenge when the kids were younger, I would always point to Ted and say, do you remember, Ted, when you were 4 and you saw that kid on TV arm fart and you worked and worked and worked for a full year, and finally, a year later, you pulled off a successful arm fart? That's what I'm talking about.
What we're doing has value in people's lives. Pressure is what makes people better.
In that case, let's have some fun.
It's gonna be a great year for everybody. Everybody who wants it to be.
The ladder takes you to quick steps. Go fast, go fast. Quick step, quick step. Way down. I really nicely asked him to get me a cup of coffee. And then I reminded him and he flipped me off. That's good. We need to make our way over to the weight room and everybody needs to grab a med ball. Your med ball you're gonna use for V-up alt legs and twists. So 15, 10, 20. Don't go with baby balls, big balls. Always big balls. Just one ball, one big black one, heavy. Sorry. Now I'm intentionally not giving you good footage. Oh, I guess they're blue balls, not black. Blue balls. Nice. Yeah, that's yoga. That's the answer. 1, 2, 3. SPG. I love that group. They do great. More than anything, I'm just proud of the attitude that they bring to the mat. No matter what the challenge is, they show up and they're ready to have fun. It's awesome.
So cool.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Okay. How true is that though? People think that it's, oh, yoga makes you more flexible or yoga will give you better balance or whatever.
Sure.
All those things are true, but the reason that they're true is because it helps so much with your brain's ability to process your environment. You know, just all that sensory integration is so important. A few years ago, I decided that I was going to write. Actually, I did with Adam's help. I wrote a little piece on that because I've seen it not only in yoga, but I also see it in jiu-jitsu when kids start at a young age. In jiu-jitsu, their proprioceptive and all their sensory integration mechanisms are so much more finely tuned. It's like you're taking the machine that processes external sensations, the machine, your brain, and it just fine tunes it. It's like a software upgrade. And kids like Ted, who, you know, half of his brain shouldn't even be working,
Right.
but he started jiu-jitsu at 5, which I swear to you is why he's so high functioning for as much of a damaged brain as he started with. I mean, his whole right side of his brain is pretty much scar tissue. And even when he was 2 and we had him at UCLA, they were like, look, these scans and all these test results say that child should not be walking or talking. And he's like jumping up and down in his crib, trying to sing happy birthday and like party boy, hey, everybody.
Yeah.
But then by the time he was 12, 13, 14, when we really were considering surgery because the seizures were so bad, they said he's just so high functioning for
Where he's at.
where he's at. And I know that's from jiu-jitsu, without a doubt.
Yeah.
The fact that he's got to do left brain, you know, it's a cross brain function, your left hand, your right hand in jiu-jitsu, and you're not even thinking about left side, right side.
There's a lot going on with it. That's why I wanted to start this vlog. It's because you tell somebody I do jiu-jitsu or I do yoga.
They don't understand.
Dude.
And how do you explain it?
That I like wrestling as an adult. Like, really? You want to wrestle 5 days a week?
It's just
Dude, I would have never guessed.
no.
Like,
I would have never guessed. We opened the gym and was like, okay, well, I'll understand jiu-jitsu enough to teach the kids classes with you.
yeah,
And now I can't wait to get my gi on.
that's cool.
I'm going through this process of self-discovery myself.
Yeah.
And I think if we approach parenthood as, okay, we have to show these kids the right way to do it, and this is the right way, we're missing the whole point. It's not forming kids to be something, it's giving them the tools to be themselves. It was important to me that the kids buy their own cars. Travis too. We were like, no, you have to buy your own car. And not just for the kind of conventional wisdom that you don't do, kids should work for something, but also the point I think parents miss on this is that when you do something for your child, you are taking from them the opportunity for them to build confidence for themselves. Something as simple as, I need you to take the garbage out. So they get the garbage in the dark, they go through the backyard, they have to open the gate, they go down the alley in the dark with all the boogeymen out there and the crazy dogs, feral cats, and they dump the garbage, and then they walk back in the dark, and they have to shut the gate again in the dark and make their way back in the house and lock the door when they get in. Just that act itself, yeah, I could do that. But I just gave my kid an opportunity to grow stronger and more confident. And they had to be more aware of what was going on. They had to think about things, and they had to sequence their events. And there's just so much value in that.
There is.
It's not just for the kids. Like, these programs are not just for kids. It's for the whole family. And when those moms and dads are out here in the lobby and their kids are in class and they're exchanging notes and they're watching each other's kids, like, all of that exposure and all of that interaction between parents is also what helps parents learn how to do better with their kids. And then it's a different mom and dad that's showing up for that child, because they now have this team of other people who have embarked on the same journey and have decided that this is, a place that's going to help their children and their families. And then, something happens and they have a conversation with the coach on the sidelines. And usually it's not about what happened in class. Every conversation I have with a parent, 80% of the conversations I have with parents have to do with what's happening in that child's life outside of class. Whenever there was a challenge when the kids were younger, I would always point to Ted and say, do you remember, Ted, when you were 4 and you saw that kid on TV arm fart? And you worked and worked and worked for a full year. And finally, a year later, you pulled off a successful arm fart? That's what I'm talking about.
Hard work and perseverance.
Will get you the ability to arm fart at a moment's notice. My favorite picture of the kids, actually, Ted has no shirt on. All the kids have cowboy hats. It's like, Western Kansas, and Ted's arm farting. Every picture for like a year was him trying to arm fart because it took him a solid year to figure that out. It was the best ever.
Right at the heel to the wall. You're getting a strong ribs back. I don't want you to think about sure people understand where their legs are in space. Out of your right shoulder. Focus your left fingertips.
Okay, so contestant number 2. You were doing this, you were like, ugh, can I lift and lower my leg with my neck and my eyeballs? This was not an eyeball exercise. Yes, and that's a big part of trying to get your abs to really work and to coordinate and to help to integrate all the movements, because when our abs aren't doing that work, then we tend to really grip our necks, which is where those shoulders come into play. Okay, so set yourself up. And the more we can use our belly, our core in these standing postures, right, the less our low backs have to work, the less our neck and our eyeballs have to work.
The edge. And lower and lower and lower.
Relax your throat. Let your tongue rest behind your teeth. Okay, remember how your partner was helping you? Your partner created that resistance, and it was in that struggle that you got a little bit deeper into your abdominal cavity, a little bit deeper into your hip socket. So now we're going to take Padangusthasana standing up, Utthita Padangusthasana. I'm okay with that. It's yoga, you're stretching. More yoga every day. And thank you for your continued practice and study in yoga. It's my experience that this practice makes us better people, and together we make the world a better place. Namaste.
There's a lot of reasons why surviving is the most important skill, but it's also important that surviving is the thing that you guys teach first, because it's also the thing that causes people to quit first. Okay? So you have to be able to be comfortable there. It's not bad. Once you can calm yourself down and breathe and be able to kind of think clearly and make those little micro adjustments. Jiu-jitsu is about submitting people. The end game is to submit you, to finish you, okay? I think Hickson said, if you can't submit me, you can't beat me, which again is why the emphasis was on survival.
Hi. You all right? Oh, you already have coffee too. I was going to try and convince you to go get coffee.
I know, it's not real coffee. It's leftover from this morning.
Do you want to walk and talk and get coffee?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Gomukhasana, standing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you laughing?
I hate that pose.
Gotcha. So taking pictures of your coffee. I always give gratitude and tribute and credit to the Iyengar for our teaching methods, but in reality, our teaching methods have evolved over the last 10 years, and what we teach is, we teach in the method of S&G, which is a little bit different, the same, just better. Something along those lines. Give it a whirl. Okay, good?
Yep.
Thanks. Hello, son. Oh shit, period. I'll be out of town tomorrow, ... Travis will probably bring him, period. I will confirm and let you know, ! What's really fun right now about the construction company is getting to watch Frank basically mentor and bring Ricky into all of this. Those are the moments that I always look for in not just my kids, but all the kids, where you see that they're interested in something. And sometimes interest is very different than what they like, right? Everybody likes candy, but are you interested in learning how to make it? Are you interested in learning, what questions do you ask? What questions do the kids ask? And usually it's when kids are asking questions that's typically the topic that they're interested in. Or maybe it's just that they're interested in asking questions. And that's how you start figuring out, who is this small human in front of me, and what can I do to help them dive in and discover who they really are? How can I help them figure out what their passion is in life? Yes, it was us talking about it, because it's one thing to say, go after what you love, do what you love. It's another thing to actually do it, but before you can even dig in and start grinding at those things that you love, you have to figure out what it is that you love. It's one thing for me to just ask a question, but it's another completely deeper scenario for me to ask myself, why did I ask that question? And we don't often, I think it's rare that we even know enough to ask ourselves, why am I asking that question? And so that, as a parent, is a way for me to pattern and to model for my kids self-awareness by asking them the question, where did that question come from? Why are you interested in that? What do you like about that shirt? I noticed you wore that shirt again today. What is it that you like about that shirt? I noticed that you really have a great time when so-and-so comes over to play. What is it that you like about that person? So that it's not just I like, I don't like, but why do I like, why do I don't like? And that feels like the most basic form of self-awareness, the most basic form of self-questioning, is just digging into our likes and dislikes. We had another changeover in staff, and we knew we needed to kind of tighten up the reins and draw the kids into a little bit more of a disciplined environment. And they're not bad kids. I don't believe that there's such thing as a bad child, or I've yet to meet a bad child. Have you met a bad child?
Oh, yeah.
More often than not, it tends to be, is the last name Davison? More often than not, they're just bad habits. You know, kids develop survival skills in the worst of home environments, and in the best of home environments, they still are mimicking the interactions that they have at home. And so the bottom line is we've just tightened up the reins, and Michael's much more disciplined and much more strict when it comes to interactions. So if he's speaking, then no one else should be speaking. If he asks you to do something, then you should do it. If he asks you a question and it's a yes or no question, then it would be yes coach, no coach. I mean, there's just some kind of standards of operation. And one of the classes last night, our juniors class in particular, they're great kids, they're energetic, and because they're juniors, they're also at that age where they're pushing their boundaries a little bit more. And I guess last night half the kids were in tears because Michael just had they were running laps, they were doing basically half an hour of calisthenics because they flat out dug their heels in and refused to abide by the rules of operation, the rules of engagement. So I heard from one of the parents last night who decided that she was going to speak on behalf of, in her words, several parents who were upset and their kids wanted to quit. And every single parent that she listed was a parent who doesn't actually stay and watch class. And so now we have to go through an education process. And in this particular parent's case, she can't. She's at work during that time. But what's happening is that her kid is getting in the car saying, I want to quit SBG, I hate jiu-jitsu, Coach Michael's mean, blah, 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 blah. And instead of asking why, what makes you feel that way, what is it about it? Instead of, again, developing this skill, for self-awareness, why do I feel this way? Well, how was it before? When do I like jiu-jitsu? When do I not like jiu-jitsu? When do I have a good time? When do I not have a good time? This particular parent is taking this child's information and just saying, oh, well, you know, everything's a disaster. Everybody wants to quit. It's awful. And so now, unfortunately, this particular child is now learning how to get better at manipulating their parents. Because they're not asking the questions why. It's just, what is the child like? What is the child not like? Okay, well, we're going to do whatever this 8-year-old wants instead of what's best for this 8-year-old. Oh, would you look at this? I didn't even have to ask them to get in perfect sit-up guard. Look at that. That's my favorite part. Mace, let's see good sit-up guard. Oh, perfect. They got good sit-up guard. What do you think? Freeze! Body's not hurt. Your feelings can heal. Sit down and be supportive for your teammates, please. Sit. Thank you. Perfect. I'm so proud of you. a child will come home from class or from school or whatever, and they're like, I don't like this. Okay, well, we'll quit. Or, okay, I'll talk to your teacher. Instead of the, well, why? Why don't you? Why do you? Well, can you think of a time when you really had a good time? What did you do that day? Can you think of a time you didn't have a good time? Because then you can start to make associations of like, well, that day you had a nap, or that day you were really hungry, right? Or that day, so that they can start to self-regulate rather than always, us making the world better for them. Let's just equip them to make the world what they need it to be. So, and it's one of the things I want you guys to, both of you, to know that you do such a great job of that with your boys. And your highly sensitive, emotional, tough boys will end up being phenomenal leaders and fathers and coaches.
You are all a team, and learning how to play a game together is how you build a stronger team, and it is also how you all become better at life. Got it? Do you understand? Yes. Thank you.
He's got a skunk costume on.
I'm stealing person.
Pepper Le Pew.
All right. This is baby win. Show them how it's done. Hands on your head. Go. I'm just going to throw them in the mix here in a minute. I know, me too. Natalia gets move of the day because she worked and she worked and she worked. Perseverance is about learning from your mistakes, coming back and doing it again and again and again. Sometimes we don't get it right the first time, but we have to keep working. Give Natalia a round of applause. 1, 2, 3. All right, listen.
What is that?
It's a microphone.
3 on 3. 1, 2, 3. SBG.
Yeah, sure.
Yay!
I need you to, can you please apologize to your mother?
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, I lost my cool.
Well, we're gonna put you in. I don't get that one either. Go, JJ.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, you did a great job today, and I'm proud of you. And I know your little explosion that happened was just you getting really excited. And I also know that you're gonna do better next time, right?
Yes.
Okay, now you gotta try a new trick. So one trick, once you make it to the top, like do that a few times, but then you can start climbing with no legs. Yeah, not using your legs at all.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so now you guys can practice airplane sweeps at home with your dad. I'm making bacon wrapped steak for dinner.
Bacon wrapped steak. It's a lot of meat. That's 2 different animal species.
No. Well, it's like a whole barnyard, minus the chicken. What was your name?
Logan.
Logan, I'm Kisa. Nice to meet you. Where'd you move from?
Michigan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Where in Michigan?
Traverse City. You know where that is?
Nope.
It's in the Lower Peninsula.
Okay.
So right here.
There, that's what I'm looking for.
along the bay there.
That's
So
awesome.
this is my first time in a mountain town. Now I'm living up on big mountains, and it's been a great winter so far.
Very cool. So we, as you know, Jiu-jitsu, we've got all sorts of basically combat sports programs, everything up from Jiu-jitsu and some grappling to boxing, kickboxing, all the way up to full MMA. But the way we start everyone is for you to come in for a free private lesson, get a tour of the facility, have time, like a one-on-one time for about an hour with a coach, so that we can get a better feel for exactly what it is that you're looking to get out of training and kind of customize a program for you. We've got classes daytimes, evenings, weekends, so our schedule's kind of all over the board, but we like to start everybody with that private lesson so that we can get something that's going to work for you.
Sure.
I'm
sure all of my questions will be answered during that.
100%.
Do you guys do with like courses? Is it split up by age or gender when you do like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes and things?
The Jiu-Jitsu classes basically are kids and adults.
Okay.
And we start everyone in a foundations program so that you get good fundamentals. We don't throw you to the sharks. Okay, quick, let's get out of here.
I haven't taught there yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's my first time. And then coaching the women on Saturday, and I feel like there haven't been any men that have taught a women's class, so I'm like super proud of myself.
I'm gonna send a notice out to all the women
Right.
to watch out. Handsome Michael Ransom. Are you just gonna show up with your spicy shorts on?
Why is he
Be
not
like-
wearing a gi? He's only wearing a gi top and short shorts. This is odd.
Today we're gonna do something a little bit different, ladies.
Attacking the legs, my legs.
Okay. Well, that is either gonna work really well or it's gonna completely backfire.
Is it weird that I like bags?
That you like bags?
Yeah, like I have to have like lots of bags. Like, look at, I have this bag.
No, I'm the same way.
This bag, and then in a week or two.
See,
I'll
that's what makes you. That actually will probably make you a good women's coach. You have an affinity for bags.
Accessorize. Let's talk about our accessories now.
Exactly.
I got a fanny pack. I got this pack. This one.
Exactly.
Just in case I drop it in the snow.
Just in case.
Right.
Michael, I think you're sick. Are both of those your bags?
Yeah.
What the hell?
I have so much stuff. Like I have my
I
workout
feel-
clothes in
I
this
f-
one, and then I have my jiu-jitsu stuff in this one, and then sometimes I have supplements or like.
I actually feel better about the fact that I always have at least 2 bags.
But I'm a mess still. Like I'm like constantly looking through things.
Well, you need an SOP.
Yep. And
Standard operating procedure.
I came in for class today, and I was squatting right before she came in. I was wearing like short shorts.
Weird. You were in short shorts?
Yep, I was in short shorts. And then as I walked around the thing, and she was like standing at the top of the ramp, and like she couldn't see me until I came around, and then she was like, "Oh, were you in the middle of a workout?"
And this
I was
guy-
like, yes.
I was squatting, in
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah, what do you mean?
And this guy was just telling me that he's going to be teaching the women's class on Saturday.
I know. That's like a high trust. I didn't know we've ever had a woman or a man teach the women's class.
Well,
Or
he does have an
a man-
affinity for handbags,
A man
so
light.
Bags,
and fanny packs, and
So
accessories.
and your toenails are painted, so you hardly have room to talk.
I'm touching that one more time.